So welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be with you here. Again, don't judge me on how many windows I have open, if you can see that. All right, so let's dive in. I worked on this a lot today because I added some things to it, and I'm just more and more all about doing things efficiently. And if you guys can mute yourself, that would be amazing. I'll check again. I think everybody is about doing things efficiently. And because a big part of my job is to work with clients for functional medicine labs and mainly gut microbiome testing, those protocols can be intensive and it takes sometimes a long time to rebalance the gut, especially when you're doing it in a natural way. So coming back to the concept of a 30-day reset is easy and achievable for people. And you do make a difference, and we know that based on the evidence. And so we're going to kind of give you the walkthrough of that tonight. Many of you have done a cleanse before with us, but maybe you didn't quite understand the products or sort of felt like, maybe why am I taking all this stuff? And so I really want to explain that tonight, that each thing actually has its place. And we're going to talk about a few other things, of course, other than smart supplementation. So this is our 30-day introduction reset to our de-bloat and rebalance your gut. And we're going to talk about why you actually get bloated when we eat the way we eat around the holidays. And I'm really no different, even though my life is wellness and I do have a very balanced lifestyle. You know, I'm just like you guys. My daughter wanted to bake a lot this holiday season, and we made everything. And we did it gluten-free. We're a gluten-free family, but I tasted everything. I ate everything and I normally eat almost zero sugar, maybe a few little chocolate chips here and there. And so, you know, we all do it, and it's a normal part of life, and you can feel it when it's happening and when it's too much and you're having changes from it. And it's really easy actually to pull the body back into balance. So most of you know me. If you don't, I'll introduce myself really quickly. My name's Eliza Bacote. I was trained as an acute care nurse practitioner and have almost 17 years of experience in intensive care unit. I left that full-time job in 2017 to pursue functional medicine and functional-based wellness practice. I'm a big fan of natural interventions. I'm currently in school for functional diagnostic nutrition, scheduled to be finished hopefully next week with all my course content. So I'm really excited about that. And it's funny, my friend Sarah, who's on here, just finished her course and was like, I'm going to go back and get my PhD in physiology and health and nutrition. And it's funny looking back on it, if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have been a naturopathic doctor, because medicine is really the study of disease. And really, when you get into functional practice, it's really the study of health and how the body functions in its optimal way. So that's me, and that's why I do what I do and why I'm here. So we're basically talking about the gut tonight and our gut reset. And we're going to talk about why, first of all, the gut changes when we change what we eat. And these are all real pictures of me eating real food. I mean, the one at the bottom is me on my honeymoon in Italy. The one at the top was me in France this summer. And we didn't realize how large the desserts were, and we shared it, and it was great. And I had a lot of glorious wine. And so when we consume things that are heavy in carbs, heavy in sugar, and really I just translate alcohol as sugar, because that's really what it turns into your body, is sugar. It does have some deleterious effects in the gut, alcohol itself, separate from sugar. But what happens is our gut microbiome, we have trillions of bacteria living in the lining of our gut, enough to fill the top of a tennis court, they say. And that biome is constantly changing based on stress, constantly changing based on what we eat. And really, truly, the best way to rebalance your gut is to change your diet. Because when you eat lots of fermented, high fiber foods, that is a natural food for the healthy biome. Now, when we go through the holidays for 2 or 3 weeks, like we all did, and we overconsume and consume different things, our biome changes. So if we were to test it, in those 2 different months, you probably would see a change. And what we actually see is growth of pathogenic microbes. And when I say pathogenic, I mean they can cause problems, disease causing, mainly Candida. Now, we all have Candida living in our gut. That's a yeast. It naturally lives there. The only problem becomes when it's overgrown. Same thing with other pathogenic bacteria as well. They feed off sugars and carbs. And so when we are feeding it more, guess what? They grow more and they repopulate and they multiply. And so same thing with alcohol. And alcohol kind of does some funny things to the gut too, because we know that it actually affects the cells in the gut, the actual cells that help protect the lining of the gut. And so that is a little bit different of a story, but it's also just more sugar, right? Not to mention that, I don't know about you, but if I have more than 2 glasses of wine, or like that third glass of wine, which I almost never do now because I just don't want it, but you don't really manage what you eat later on. You definitely tend to eat more. And so we see this shift in the microbiome. And when the microbiome shifts, you will get symptoms. Now, here's the thing. If a person like me who doesn't have a lot of Candida overgrowth may not experience as many symptoms as a person who's actually living with underlying heavy amounts of Candida in their gut. These people, when they go overboard, I mean, they are bloated, they are constipated, they have brain fog, they cannot sleep. Same thing with pathogenic bacteria. So this is why after the holidays, you actually feel that some people are constipated, again, bloated, because again, think about it, when the bad bacteria are overgrowing and the good bacteria are not, you don't digest your food as well. All of those bacteria help digest our food and move it along. So a lot of people get constipated. And so really sometimes just initially by shifting your diet for a couple days, you'll notice a difference. And then you start to see a little bit of sleep disruption too. Alcohol is a sleep disruptor. Remember this, melatonin, one of our primary sleep hormones, fantastic hormone. Most people think of it being produced by the brain, but the gut actually produces 600 times the amount of melatonin that the brain does. So you start to mess with some of those cells and they don't produce their normal hormones that they're supposed to. And so this is why we have that change. Just wanted you guys to really understand the background behind it. And so it's really just being out of balance, right? And so dietary intake changes our microbiome. We have biological effects that come from that, sleep disruption. Some people actually get anxiety or more stress from that because the gut regulates a lot of those different neurotransmitters that actually affect our mood. Now, obviously, further on down the line, people that eat like this for years and years and years end up with a disease process. But remember this, your body is always driving towards something called homeostasis. That means being in balance. So it's always trying to shift you back to like, whoa, you just ate a lot of sugar. Remember, when we consume anywhere from 50 to 100 grams of sugar in a sitting or a day, we inactivate our white blood cell production by at least 50%. You're literally making a change in your immune system too. And so just bringing it back into balance can be done really quickly for people that have pretty good baseline health. If you have pretty poor baseline health or daily bloating, daily digestive problems, a 30-day is not going to be something that's going to really bring you back into balance. You may feel a tiny bit better or back to your baseline, but just know that you need something probably more intensive. So key components to our 30-day reset. We're not starting today. We're starting January 15th because that gives you plenty of time to get your supplements in order and to like prepare yourself, right? Do your grocery list, get some meal planning going. And so just know this, a lot of people think it's just about taking supplements and a pill. That's just not true. In fact, what I tell people when they do GI mapping with me and gut protocols is you can take all the supplements, but if you do nothing else, you're actually going to have probably very little rebalancing. It's really a combination of these 5 things that make a huge difference. And especially when you're doing a 30-day, it is super, super important to do all of these at once because you're going to get a much bigger effect. So yes, you guys know we love smart supplementation. God put the plants on the earth for our body. They all have different chemical constituents in them. They all do very different things in our body. And literally, they are our complete toolbox and resources to heal our body. So that's amazing. Lifestyle is everything. I cannot say this enough. Again, people can do a whole protocol, and if you don't manage your stress and and do different things related to sleep, making sure you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours, the gut typically will not rebalance very well. And stress management is a myriad of things, right? So sometimes people are in toxic relationships. Sometimes people are in a stressful work environment. So what I try and tell people is like, without flipping your whole life, try and find really healthy ways to create some boundaries. Like, hey, husband, for 30 days, I'm going to do this reset. I just really need to be back to my vibrant self. Let's get some extra babysitters. Maybe I can have a cleaning lady come, a couple times. If you don't have a cleaning lady, maybe get one. Ask for a little extra support, maybe get a little extra childcare. If you're single, sometimes that means having boundaries from maybe some toxic relationships or people that cause stress in your life. That's okay. That's healthy for a period of time. Making sure your sleep is 7 to 8 hours solid, super important. Movement is important, especially what we call postprandial movement. So that's after a meal. We know that studies show us when you walk for 15 to 20 minutes after a meal, your blood sugar balances much better and you digest your food better. Another thing that you can do if you can't get out for a walk is I love to just lay in the floor and do abdominal stretches that promote digestion. And that's literally, you can lay on your back and do side twists. That's one of the best ones. And sit up, pull your legs over, do like a hip twist, stretch. Anything that's twisting or stretching backwards is going to open up blood flow to the digestive system. Healthy connections, we kind of already talked about that, about creating boundaries. And of course, diet. Diet is huge. So immediately what we're going to do during this 30-day reset is we are going to remove sugar, remove alcohol mostly. And I rarely do a whole 30 now without maybe having 1 or 2 glasses of wine during the month. I just don't drink a lot of wine anymore, so it's not a big deal for me. You can tell when it's a big deal for people because they're like, wine, no wine for 30 days. But balance it, right? We really need a diet rich in fiber. And that basically means a lot of plants, plant-based food, fruits. Now, I will say this, if you had a lot of sugar, avoid those high sugar fruits like pineapple, bananas, things like that. Stick with berries, Granny Smith apples, things like that don't have a lot of sugar. And I really, really, really promote a whole 30 during this 30-day reset. I've also done a Daniel fast in the past. That's great too. But during this 30 days, if you do a whole 30 with this, and you can just Google whole 30 if you've never heard of it, they have an awesome recipe page. It's free, pantry list, everything. It's basically eliminating most inflammatory triggering foods, dairy, sugar, alcohol, legumes, and processed seed oils and things like that. So you basically can eat meat, any plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, eggs, things like that. It's eliminating some of those things that if you have a gut imbalance, those things can kind of feed the negative microbiome. And so those are our key components. So let's talk about really quickly why we do this from a functional medicine approach. We don't always go into this in sort of our basic class, but I really feel like when people understand this, they're like, okay, this makes sense now. Every supplement that we recommend fits into one of these categories. This is a very well-known approach to functional medicine, rebalancing gut health. And it's called the 5 R's of gut support. Now, remember this, when you balance your gut in the most appropriate way, you're balancing your immune system, you're balancing your brain, you're balancing your skin. Anytime someone comes to me with skin issues, I'm like, we have to look at the gut. It's balancing your thyroid, liver, your overall health, how you feel, your energy, and your cardiometabolic health. It is all interconnected. And the gut is really the seat of all of those organs. And think about it this, it digests your food and absorbs your nutrients. So you're not the food you eat, you're the food you digest. So you're not properly digesting those nutrients, you're not receiving adequate nutrition for all of these cells and these organs to function properly. So the 5 R's are remove. The removal phase typically refers to removal or rebalancing of pathogens that may have a negative effect in the gut that may be overgrown. They can be there. That's not a big deal. Okay. So I tell people all the time, some pathogenic bacteria you don't want there at all. Like you don't want a little bit of a parasite. You don't want any parasites. but some bacteria can live there. It's fine. It's just when the level is overgrown. So in this reset, we use particular tools to help the body remove some of those bad bacteria. We replace, so always during this time period, we replace the body with different things like digestive enzymes. A lot of times when you're on a rebalancing protocol, you need extra digestive enzyme support. So we'll talk about that. You reinoculate or repopulate. There's a lot of thought process around antimicrobial herbs and them affecting the good microbiome, but studies just don't prove that. Studies actually prove that even the things that we use as antimicrobial in the biome in the herbal world actually promote healthy bacteria growth. But reinoculation typically comes in the form of healthy bacteria. So probiotics, prebiotics. Prebiotics are the food for the good bacteria to feed on. And so reinoculation helps repopulate that. And repair. So a lot of times, if you've eaten gluten, especially with modern day wheat in America, gluten can be very, very toxic to our guts, and it destroys the lining of the gut. And when you destroy the lining of the gut, you don't absorb nutrients. So a lot of these things in here are in the repair phase, right? Helping repair the gut lining. And keep this in mind too, in the replace phase, it's not just enzyme. We're also replacing things that support detoxification organs like the liver and the kidneys. And then rebalancing really has to do with lifestyle. So that has nothing to do with supplementation, really. It's actually just about rebalancing what's happening in your life, because in America, we are one of the most stressed out societies. Hence another reason why we have very poor gut health. And rebalancing is all about you saying, okay, I'm going to take 30 days and I'm going to pick the top 5 things that really bring me the most stress, that raise my cortisol, that make me feel like I have to have that fight or flight. And I'm going to rebalance those in a different way. Sometimes that means you just need space from people. Sometimes that means with work, you take a step back. Sometimes that means you recreate your schedule during the day and reorganize your clients or whatever work you do. So that is super, super important. I can't say that enough. So let's dive right into some of the smart supplementation that we're going to talk about tonight. And most of these things that we're talking about are what's in the Cleanse and Restore kit. So I'm going to explain that. And so the foundation, of course, is Lifelong Vitality Pack. Now, I know that everybody's like, yeah, Lifelong Vitality Pack. It's the vitamins. We have them. We take them. Okay, great. But people don't actually realize how important they are to a gut rebalancing health and to overall digestive health. The Alpha CRS has something called Boswellia serrata in it. Boswellia serrata is actually the resin from frankincense. You guys know frankincense oil and we love it, right? It's good for so many things. But the resin that is left behind actually has amazing anti-inflammatory properties and actually has been proven to be incredible in the gut. Also, extra turmeric in there. Do you know in some studies, turmeric actually functions as a probiotic in the gut? So we know that it helps promote gut health. Not to mention, part of this pack is the omega fatty acids. Omega fatty acids are extremely important. You have to have that omega fatty acid structure to rebuild the gut lining. It literally uses it as a building block for the gut lining. Super, super important. And there's quite a few other things in there that are very important, but it also gives you plant-based nutrients as well, right? So if you are nutrient deficient because of an absorption issue in the gut, helps replace that, right? And so I threw the greens and fiber in here because most people know about them, but they don't actually really know how great they are on a gut protocol. The greens have a ton of prebiotics in them, and the fiber actually is I think one of the best food binders out there outside of those wild tiny blueberries. Those are great food binders. And I always tell people, without using an aggressive binder to bind toxins, there's so many foods and different types of, like it has chicory root in it. That's a great binder. So those are actually 2 products that are fantastic. If you want that really the best, the best thing, you can order a pack of the greens and the fiber. So let's talk about the omega specifically. And again, I'm going to show you the kit so you understand everything that comes in the kit. So that Exi Omega is part of the Lifelong Vitality Pack. You also get in there essential oils. Frankincense is also a very important oil to supporting gut health. It also has a little bit of thyme in there, some immune supporting things. Now, I will say this. I love to have at least 2 grams daily of omega-3 fatty acids during a gut protocol. The XEO Omega is somewhere, I believe 900 is what you get in a full dose. So I actually love the kids liquid omegas for this, for the additional supplementation, because it is so high dosage. It's almost 1500 milligrams. And that's just a teaspoon that will last you 30 days. And so for people that need help with that gut lining, I really love to push them a little bit over even that 2 grams daily of omega-3 fatty acids, especially because in America, we eat a lot of seed oils and we eat a lot of processed oils that are very high in omega-6 fatty acids. And when you are out of balance in omega-6 and omega-3s, you have very high preponderance towards inflammation, lots of inflammation. So back in the day, it used to be like 3-to-1 ratio. Now we're like 15-to-1. And so a lot of times for people, we really have to kick up that omega-3. That's why we love for you to do a Whole30, because on Whole30, you get rid of all of those garbage oils that are high in omega-6 fatty acids. And just doing that rebalance alone is amazing for your gut health. PBSS, and they do have a PBSS Junior for kids too. But this is the probiotic also with a prebiotic in it. And just to tell you how special this is, there's multiple strains, bifidobacterium strains, lactobacillus strains. But some of these strains actually, when they're in good levels, prevent adherence. Say if you were to get a parasite, actually prevent adherence to the gut lining for a parasite. So they're really supportive. I like to adjust the dose. In the cleanse, the dose is about 2 of these. I love to make it 4. So keep that in mind. If you want to order an extra bottle of PB Assist, that pushes that colony count of the probiotics up a little bit. So I think it needs to be a little bit higher in the repopulation replacement phase. But it does have a prebiotic in there, so that's really important. Okay, removal, GX Assist. This is like the most undersung product, I think, in the doTERRA world. And people just don't know what it does and don't know what it's for. And they're like, yeah, I've done a cleanse before, it's in there, but they don't really understand the magic of GX Assist. GX Assist is a combo essential oil pill with oregano, tea tree, peppermint, lemongrass, and thyme. And it also has caprylic acid, which is derived from coconut oil or sometimes palm oil. If you want to support removal of certain microbes in your gut that may be causing issues, oregano oil is your best friend. Thyme oil is your best friend. Peppermint. I did a huge presentation to a medical board about how these different oils, the data behind how they break down something called biofilm. Different bacteria and candida encase themselves in biofilm to protect themselves. And these oils, they're scientifically proven to destroy them. You cannot refute that science. And so what this is really, really great for is helping that biofilm get broken. The body immune system then recognizes, oh, wow, that guy is here and he's here in a lot. He's a big colony count. Then it sometimes spills toxins, right? And the immune system in the gut actually gets alerted, and the immune system assists with the GX Assist working together to help then remove pathogens from the digestive tract. Now, again, dosing is super important here. You have enough in this one bottle to do the dose that I like. The cleanse will tell you to take 1 with every meal. So that's 3 times a day. Please take 2 with every meal. Take 6 a day. That's going to really get you into that nice dosing range, because we only do this part of the phase for 10 days. And don't worry, we will post your schedule. Like there's a whole little calendar and you check off because there's different phases. We're not going to go into that tonight, but it's just really simple. They make it really simple. So take 2 with every meal. This part of the phase is for 10 days. Okay. Terrazyme, this supports replacement. So the part of that 5R that is replacing our enzymes, right? This is a digestive enzyme. It also has a gluten binding enzyme in there. So it's really nice if you do go out to eat and you accidentally are exposed to some gluten. Super important. Take 1 to 2 with every meal. Zendicrine capsules and soft gels. And most people, again, don't really understand these products, but they are really amazing. Detoxification blend. There's a soft gel. Just understand the effects of cilantro and what it does to assisting the body in detoxification. Rosemary alone is really, really known to help with liver enzymatic function to support that in the body. So that's a combo pill of essential oils. And then the Zendicrine complex is the herbal part of it. Barberry in there, milk thistle, all these things that really support the liver and detoxification. On this protocol, the 30-day reset, you have to be stooling 1 to 2 times per day, and you really need to be drinking a ton of water. We're going to talk about that. And you need support in detoxification. And this is going to support you during that. So, if you cannot excrete the organisms, you cannot get rid of them. So part of the protocol is excretion and supporting detoxification. DDR prime. And again, some people know about this, some people don't. Some people would call this only in the repair category, because we call DDR prime the essential oil blend that supports cells. Frankincense, thyme, summer savory, lemongrass, right? But guess what? A lot of those oils, especially the thyme and the clove in here, support removal. And they're both also known to be biofilm busters. So this is actually in conjunction. This is why this is genius and why doTERRA put it in there, because it's not just the frankincense to support cells. It's also helps with the removal phase. So 2 of those per day, 1 in the morning and the evening. And then remember, we talked about hydration. Hydration is so important. You have to be excreting through the kidneys. And lemon oil is, even though some people think, oh, that's just a nice little add-on, this is actually really important. And all of my clients go on this on Gut Protocol. And I typically tell them to put 5 to 10 drops in their water per day. So if you drink, 2 liters of water per day and have a big canteen, you can put it in there, shake it up. The limonene is part of the components of lemon oil. Limonene is a chemical constituent in its natural form, and it's known to help promote glutathione production from the liver. Glutathione is one of our primary antioxidants that kicks out free radicals. Free radicals cause damage to our DNA and our cells. And so limonene has been studied to show potential promotion of that antioxidant from the liver. Again, all these things are just supporting your amazing body to do what it does already, but to do it better. So don't miss this part, okay? And stay hydrated, super important. So what do you actually need to participate in the cleanse supplement wise? So we made a good, better, best suggestion, right? So the good and like doing it is like, just get the cleanse and restore kit from your account, right? That has the Lifelong Vitality Pack in it, Terrazyme, PB Assist. I would add on an extra bottle. GX Assist, Zendicrine soft gels and capsules, DDR prime, and lemon oil. That is great in and of itself. And it's going to come with a super really clear paper, a checkbox every day of your supplements. Part of the phases change in the beginning. The phase is like preparing the body and the gut for the removal phase. Then at day 10, we start the removal phase. Then there's the re-inoculation phase, and you start those probiotics, right? And again, with the GX Assist, just remember, I do 2 with every meal. That's 6 a day. That bottle has 60 in it. That will last you the 10 days of the remove phase. And again, I like to go up to 4 on the PB Assist. And if you have other probiotics sitting around, that is fine. Take those. Saccharomyces boulardii is one of my favorite add-ons. And you can pretty much get that anywhere. And so I love to add in others. That's going to give you probably somewhere around, if you take 4 a day, 24 billion CFUs, that's a relatively low dose. Really, if you kick yourself up to that 50 billion range, 75 billion range, that's a really great thing to do. And you can continue that post protocol for a little while too. Okay, here's the better kit. So remember, we talked about those liquid omegas and adding a little bit extra. Now, I also threw in the better kit the Digestin, because some people are like feeling those things now, right? Like irritability, bloated, maybe feeling constipated, things like that. And Digestin is that essential oil blend that really supports digestion. It has fennel, ginger. And by the way, ginger can also be a remove oil for very certain pathogens. It helps support the body removing certain pathogens. And also coriander, anise. So all of those herbs essential oils that are known to be great for the digestive system. Take 1 to 2 with every meal. Peppermint oil in there is the key component in that. There are unrefutable studies now on peppermint essential oil for global symptoms. Even gastroenterologists are recommending peppermint oil for global symptoms of IBS. It's a known supportive recommendation to the body. So supports the body in just, managing that, right? So that would be a better thing to add on to your kit. And so the Digestin, as we just discussed, is those essential oil capsules. Take 1 to 2 with every meal. And you can take 2 or 3 with a meal. You're not going to hurt yourself. Really can help you with some of those uncomfortable feelings post holiday. And then the best, that Digestin Liquid Omegas add-on. And then we add in here Copaiba soft gels and adaptive capsules. And remember that slide at the beginning, gut-brain connection. We didn't go into too much there, but really it's so important. This is why we have that post-holiday slump. How everybody says, oh my gosh, the time between Christmas and New Year's is like the dead zone. It's because people literally, their moods are terrible because they have crushed their body with sugar and carbs and their neurotransmitters are imbalanced. So these 2 products here, Copaiba itself is really, really, really incredible for something called the endocannabinoid system. We have cannabinoid receptors in our whole body. By the way, cannabis is not the only cannabinoid in the plant-based world. There is a cannabinoid called beta-caryophyllene, and it exists in Copaiba oil from Brazil in these soft gels. There's not one single client that I've ever had that doesn't still take these post protocol because they're so wonderful for helping with stress and anxious feelings. 1 to 2 at night. I like to do it at bedtime. You can take it by day for stress too. I love for people to do that because this really helps with stress management. So I take 1 with 2 adaptive pills during the day. And all my kids are screaming and people are just too close to my body sometimes and I need space. So I do that as a rescue remedy for myself. But the gut receptors you see there are in, you have endocannabinoid receptors in the gut too. So Copaiba actually helps work on supporting the gut as well. So we call it a repair and rebalance category. Rebalance is that lifestyle stress management. And then adaptive capsules. Amazing, amazing, amazing. These I can't live without. They have lavender in them, which is basically the plant-based relaxation tool when you take it internally. It also has an herb in there called Scaledium tortuosum, or Kanna, very well known from South Africa, comes from a bush. And this is the feel-good herb. They give it to women in labor. It's very, very good actually for digestive symptoms, but it's very well known for uplifting the mood. And the lavender kind of balances that out. You also have ahi flower in there, which is a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. So this is amazing. You can have up to 4 per day, typically, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And I love to combine those with Copaiba. So how to go from this to this in 30 days, right? I was like, how can I represent what this can do for you and how you can feel so much better? Just feeling lighter, feeling more energy, feeling more inspired, feeling more motivated, feeling more positive, and really just reset your body. That's all you need. So I'm going to stop sharing now and open the floor for any questions. So our group will start January 15th. Most of the content we'll be posting in our Facebook page. You may get an email from some of us. Some of you may get a text from us just with support. But any questions you have too can come into the Facebook group. So anyone have any questions? You can also put it in the chat box if you want. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. If you think of something later and you want to let us know if you have a question, again, just pop into the Facebook group. We're excited to cleanse along with you.